Are you struggling to move on from your ex and you're wondering if no contact is the right decision for you? Well, in today's video, we're going to unpack exactly that. We'll talk about what no contact is if you're not familiar and how it can really help you move on from an ex. But also, we'll discuss why it is really important after a breakup and in what particular situations it's often recommended. And then we'll go into how to do no contact right. How long should it last? How do we make sure that we don't fall into any of the traps of doing no contact wrong accidentally? And last but not least, we'll talk about whether or not it actually tends to make your ex come back. So if you're new to this channel, hello and welcome. My name is Thais. I am the founder of the Personal Development School. And after 10 years or so of seeing clients, I decided to put all of our content online and put daily content out here specifically on YouTube, where I dispel the different myths and challenges about relationships and spend a lot of time, especially talking about attachment styles. So, first and foremost, if you're not familiar with the idea of no contact, it's a strategy used after a breakup where one person basically avoids all contact. And when I say all contact, this truly means all forms of communication with your ex. This obviously includes face to face interactions, but it also includes phone calls, text messages, social media interactions, even indirect communication through mutual friends. And the idea here is to create space and time for personal healing and to gain clarity about where you want things to go in the next season of your life without the influence of your ex partner. And it also helps break free from that emotional band aid being ripped off if you end up staying in contact with somebody who you have a romantic history with. Now, there's a few things that it's supposed to do. Okay. Number one, it's supposed to give you a lot of emotional healing, time to really truly focus on prioritizing yourself. Number two, it's supposed to give you clarity and perspective. It's supposed to allow you to actually digest what wasn't working so that you can make sure that you don't fall into those future habits. And it's designed to be a time, number three, of reflection. And number four, to really stop ripping that band aid off, like we mentioned. So there's a few things that are really important about it. Okay. People say no contact should last for 30 days. 30 days, no contact. That's it. Do it right there. But there's a few things that we have to talk about. We have to talk about, does that 30-day period really work that well? Is it really a one size fits all solution? And will it make your ex come back? So, first and foremost, 30 days, I really don't believe is a good one size fits all solution. It's sort of like a median time, if anything. But you'll actually find that different attachment styles respond differently to no contact. So if you have a partner who's more avoidant, okay, somebody who's more closed down, more emotionally reserved, they're often called the dismissive avoidant partner in a relationship. So they're slower to warm up, they don't talk about their feelings as much, they're really independent. That person won't usually even respond to no contact within a 30-day period. These are something called attachment styles, and every single person has one. There's four of them. I'm going to take you through each one. The dismissive avoidant, if you have somebody who's a closed off partner, who's slower to warm up, who's really independent, they're usually not going to respond to no contact and miss their ex until usually the 6 week mark minimum, sometimes all the way up to 3 months. So that's the period of no contact that if people are looking to try to sort of win their ex back, that's often recommended. But please keep in mind, I'm going to come back to the winning your ex back part in a moment because I want to make sure that we're not just leveraging no contact as this kind of like strategy to win somebody back if A, they're not for you, or B, they're not going to do the work with you. So we're going to talk about some key indicators and the ex back conversation in just a moment. Number two, if you have an anxious partner, somebody who's more clingy in relationships, really loving, very thoughtful, really wants a lot of certainty and commitment in relationships, then this partner tends to respond most to no contact during the first 2 weeks. Okay. But then we have somebody who's fearful avoidant. They kind of share in the anxious and avoidant side of attachment styles. They're very hot and cold, they're back and forth. They can be really present and really loving, but when you're not around them, they can kind of fall off, right? They're sort of like out of sight, out of mind. They're kind of all or nothing. They're very hot and cold, all in, fully pulled back. They kind of make your mind confused sometimes if you're dating one of them. And sometimes they can be a little more volatile, a little more sharp with their words, a little more, pushing somebody away instead of just pulling away or retreating and doing things that may be a little bit sabotaging to relationships. Now, if you're dating somebody like that, then you're usually looking at 3 to 6 weeks as being that prime no contact period, where during that prime period, they're most likely to wonder what you're up to and reconsider the relationship. So all of those things will matter a lot. By the way, I've got a lot of attachment style content on this channel if you're new here. So you can learn more about the different attachment styles and how they really show up in relationship dynamics. Now, we also have a secure attachment style. And for the typical secure attachment style, yes, 30 days is a good no contact period. Now, what's really important here to recognize is that if you are looking at this through the lens of, okay, I'm going to go no contact specifically for this period of time, because that's when Thais just said my ex is most likely to miss me. That's true, but I think if we don't look at the whole picture here, we really do ourselves a disservice. So I want to take it back here for a moment, and I want to go back to the original purpose of no contact, which is a time for you to get clarity and perspective and to focus on your own healing and growth. And if you're going to do no contact right, you're going to do it for those reasons primarily first. Yes, your partner may miss you during no contact. Yes, it's more likely to have them sort of wonder what's going on and want to bridge that gap and to reach out to you. But if you just do that and go no contact and try to will yourself into not talking to them and don't do the inner underlying work, which I'll tell you some good suggestions for what it can be in a moment, then your ex may miss you and you may sort of reconnect and recommunicate again. But the needle's probably not going to move into a better situation because neither of you have changed anything about your own internal world or about how you communicate or learn things that can allow you to grow into creating a better relationship. So, for no contact to be done right, it has to be about personal growth and healing, number one. And then, number two, yes, we can see if there's the added benefit of maybe if we care about somebody, they return, they reach back out, they miss us. And then we can see, are we going to have a conversation that allows us to move in a new direction? So, what are some things you can do to heal after a breakup? Well, one of the biggest things we're grieving is being in a situation with somebody where they were meeting a lot of our needs. And when they're gone, it feels like our ability to get our needs met goes with them. So, if you can start as a tool by writing out what needs you miss being met most by your ex: comfort, validation, emotional connection, somebody who made you feel protected or seen, or you did novel things with, you went on adventures, you laughed, you had a sense of humor, like whatever those things are, write them out. And then try to find other healthy sources in your life of getting these needs met, both from yourself, but from other healthy people, friends, family members, etc. And that will help you heal that void of grief a little bit. And then what I want you to do, number two, is try to look at what led the relationship to break down and what you would do differently next time around. And then if you're going no contact, you're meeting your own needs and finding healthy strategies to communicate them with others, which is a great step of healing and growth. You're clear about if your ex does come back, what to communicate about differently. And then I'm going to share with you something you can say specifically if they do come back and you start to reconnect. But before I do, I just want to let you know, if you're trying to heal from a breakup right now and move the needle on your own growth and healing, I have a course you can check out fully for free just for a limited time. And it's called How to Heal from a Breakup. And it will actually help you move the needle on grief, the grief that comes after a breakup, very quickly and very effectively so that you can really cut through those heavy feelings and find yourself in a situation where you're healing way more rapidly because of going into the principles of how grief actually affects us at a deeper level and leveraging our understanding of those things to take major steps in our healing going forward. So I'll put a link to that fully for free for a limited time down below. Now, the last part here is that if your ex does come back and you start to communicate and connect, you can wait a couple of weeks for reconnecting and chatting. But as you start to spend time together, you want to have a conversation that goes something like this: Hey, we're obviously spending time together and there's obviously still feelings here. I'm okay with moving ahead at not too quick of a pace, but I want to have a conversation with you that if we are going to proceed, because I value my own time, I want to make sure we're not just repeating old patterns. So here's a couple of things that I think we did the first time around that we can improve upon this time around, and they are A, B, and C. Do you have anything from your end that you also suggest so that we can have a better connection this time around? And when I say ABC, you want to think about what those things were. Did you fight too much? Were you too harsh with your communication? Was there a lack of consistency in the relationship? Like that's for you to really insert and fill in the blanks. But that helps you carve out a path going forward where you're not just repeating these old patterns and you can move the needle towards a better relationship. So that is it for today. If you enjoyed this video or are enjoying this channel, please subscribe. I would love to have you here. I put out daily videos so that you can understand more about relationships, the subconscious mind, just build emotional literacy when I think that's something that's such an underserved space in our world right now. And if you have questions, please let me know in the comments down below. And as I mentioned, if you need some support and want some help just healing from a breakup, you can check out all of our supportive resources in that free course for a limited time down below. Thank you for watching.